Welcome everyone to day number 21. We're in the 20s already. Awesome. So this is a fun one. We are going to see the extractPathWithFilters function from my GitHub repository. And as you can see here in the description, this is mixing two of our previous functions. So this is using the extract path and the filter value by conditions functions. So this one and this one. If you missed them, you can go ahead and watch in previous videos. I already explained both of them. So let's go ahead and start with the extractPathWithFilters function. Let's take the code and the input. Amazing. So let me first go through the input that we have here. In this example, we have an object, and then we have contributors. We have the site name. Then we have contributors, and this is an array. Then we have different stuff like active, ID, name, the posts, which is also an array. And then we have the details of the post, so name, durations, and then another array with comments, and so on. And then in our output, let's see, what is our output? Our output, we have all comments, for example, and we have different things that we want to show and things that we want to filter. And then, for example, we have the all post, let me do this like this. All post duration 3, so all of the blog posts with duration 3 are going to be filtered here. And then, for example, we have duration 3 and active contributor. So we have all of the duration 3, but only the active contributors. So in this case, the active contributors would be here in the contributors list. You have a field that is called active, so whether this is true or false, it depends to see which contributor is active or not. This is just an example. So here is how we are using our function to populate all of those filtered objects that we saw. We're using the extractPathWithFilters function. We're sending the payload as the first argument. Then on the second argument, we are retrieving what we want to show. So for example, contributors.posts. So it would go to the payload, and then it would extract contributors and then .posts. So if I wanted to, for example, extract posts and then name, I can do contributors.posts.name, if I can write correctly, name, and that would extract my just the post's name as opposed to the whole posts, as you can see here. Now I have just blog post 1 and blog post 5, and instead of having like the whole object like this part here. So that is how this second argument works. And then the third argument is the filters that we want to do. So for example, we have this array, and then inside the array we have objects. And in this case, you remember how in our previous one we were using just like active true? Well, in this case, we are using objects. So in the object, we have a key, because we want to match that key with a condition. So the key posts, and all of the keys have to be arrays, the key posts, and then we do the condition duration 3. And then, for example, key contributors, and then the condition has to be active true. This is just like an example. So if we can match that with what we have here, so posts is a key, and again, this has to be an array. And the condition is duration equals 3. And the second condition is on contributors. So this is the object, contributors, the array, sorry. And the condition is that this is active true. So if there's one active false, or if there is a duration other than 3, then this won't be showing up. Okay, so now that we saw the whole explanation of what this thing does, let's dive into the actual function. All right, so we accept the value, which is the payload in our case, and we accept the path, which is what we want to extract or what we want to show. And this is a string. And finally, we have the filters, which is an array. And if we don't send any filters, then this is going to be defaulted to an empty array. So no filters at all, and just extracting the path. Now we open with a do to create context variables, and we have our first variable called next item. We do a scan. I already explained how the scan function works. You can go to my previous videos if you didn't see. And I am scanning all of the words, basically. So I'm extracting all of the words from my path. In this case, let's see an example here, contributors.posts.comments. So I'm extracting all of the words. So it will be an array with contributors, then posts, then comments. And then I am extracting, where was I? Oh, here. I am extracting the 0, 0. If you remember when we saw in the scan, it's going to return an array of arrays. So if I want to have the very first object or item that I get from my array of arrays, then I can do 0, 0. Or I can also do flatten and then 0. And then I am doing an if, because this is a tail recursive function and you always have to have an if to stop the recursiveness. So if the next item is empty, so this one, then we just return the value and we don't call the function anymore. But if it's not empty, then I open another context to have a new set of variables. And so if this is not empty, it starts the recursiveness or continues the recursiveness. And the first thing that we have is a variable with isIndex. So we check if the next item is a number or not. You remember this from one of our previous functions that I explained. And I also explained the isNumeric function from the strings module. And then if this is true, then we transform this to a number instead of using it as a string. And then if this is not a number, then we just leave it like that. So a string. Then we extract the value. So we do value and then the extractor, which is this one. So if this is an index number, this will be an actual number. And then if this is a string, this will extract the string from the value. For example, .site would be prosdep. So here we have the extracted value. And then we create a new variable called newValue, where we do the filtering. So we call the filter value by conditions function, and then we call this other function called isArrayOfArray, which will return true if the extracted value is an array of array and false if it's not. So if it is an array of array, we go through this path and we flatten the extracted value because it's an array of array. So we end up with just one array. And if this is not, then we just use the extracted value. So we send this as our first argument into the filter value by conditions. And then on our second argument, we send the filters that we want to filter this whole thing with. Now that we get the new value with all the filtered stuff, we send this new value as our first argument into the same function that we're using, the extractPathWithFilters. Our second argument will be a substring of the path that we received, but for the next item. And finally, we just send back the filters that we received. So again, if you don't remember how the filter value by conditions function works, you can go ahead and watch my previous video. And you can see how the isArrayOfArray function works right here. I can explain on the next video what is the type of function. It will be a short one, but I'm going to explain. And we're using the equal-ish operator that I explained on my previous video. So that's it for this video. Let me know if you want me to explain any of the functions that are here. I can explain the match. Okay, I will explain the match. Oops, the match operator function. And I will explain the type of function. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you want me to explain next. Leave it on the comments below. Follow me on socials at Martinez and subscribe right here. Thank you. Bye.